Welcome to the February edition of CSP Smart Money. Well, school's back, Christmas is a rapidly receding memory, and the share markets welcomed all this in with a return to volatility. Now, welcome to 2018. On a personal note, we had a fantastic Christmas break. My wife Kate and the three kids managed to jump in our caravan. We got away for over 4 weeks, which was a really good break away from the office and really sort of set us up to come back in and get into it. We managed to spend the better part of 4 weeks up on the New South Wales far north coast, sort of alternating between the beach and the bush and the beach and the bush, and we had an absolute ball. We jumped off waterfalls, we swam, we boogie boarded, we surfed, we jumped off rope swings, we went fishing, we went sapphire fossicking. It was a really good time and good to get away with family, and I trust everybody got to have a similar experience over Christmas. Our newsletter comes out in a couple of weeks, and I'll get into our investment thesis in a little bit more detail in that newsletter, but I think I need to comment on the recent volatility in the share market. In the very end of January and the first week or two of February, the share market got really quite bumpy. What caused that seems to be that there was a release of some US wages data, non-farm payroll data out of the United States that showed a fairly significant jump in wages in the United States, particularly in the middle class. And the concern was when you get a jump like this, that can become inflationary. If everybody gets a pay rise and that money gets spent in the general economy, then prices get pushed up, which is generally a good thing, or sort of good for economic activity anyway. The problem with it though is that there was a fear that if inflation jumps out further than is expected, then the US Federal Reserve is going to hike rates more quickly and further than the share market's currently pricing in. And for a bunch of share market pricing models and calculations, that would cause a fall in share prices. So the market got pretty jumpy about that, and off the back of that we saw some pretty significant falls. It's worth pointing out the falls weren't huge in the context of the last 12 months. I think the share market got back to where it was very late November, early December, so by no means has there been a big knock to wealth, but certainly in the short term it was a fair degree of volatility. I suppose in times like that, when you do get that volatility, it's important to revert back to your strategy and just remind yourself of what you're doing and why you're doing it. At CSP, we do have the buckets program, which does try to ensure there's enough money in cash available to get you through any of those periods of volatility. And I think it also provided a really good lesson in the old principle of KISS, keep it simple, stupid. There's an ETF in the United States called the XIV. And what the XIV is, or what it was an investment in stability. So in the United States, there's a measure of share market volatility called the VIX, the VIX. XIV is the VIX in reverse. And so basically what happened is that the XIV goes up as share market volatility tapered away. So it had a pretty good run over the better part of almost 5 years, as you'll see on the graph. Unfortunately, when the volatility spiked, the XIV dropped from $129.35 to $5.10 in 7 days. That's a fall of about 96%. And apparently represents about US $2 billion worth of capital being torn up. And I think the moral of the story here is, and we're always reminded of this every time there's a major correction, is be very, very wary of complicated and leveraged investment products, particularly things that are synthetic. It's not an investment that CSP invested in. It's not even anything that would make it through our screens for a range of reasons. But the old morals of the story, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, I think has rung true once again. Anyway, that's enough of it from me. Welcome to the edition of Smart Money. We hope you enjoyed the other articles we've posted. And as I say, keep an eye out for our newsletter for a more in-depth investment thesis. See you soon. Thanks for watching.